The Honor Magic V2 is here, and it represents one of the most interesting foldable phones to date. Why? Largely because of its form factor. The Magic V2 is one of the thinnest foldables so far, making it highly portable and very premium feeling. But it goes up against tough competition. Notably, the Google Pixel Fold is one of my favorite foldable phones so far, thanks largely to its wider form factor and the fact that it has such a great software experience. In fact, I like both of these foldable phones so much that I was having a bit of a tough time deciding which one to use more long term. That's why I put together this video, comparing two of the best foldable phones out there. Here's everything you need to know. If this video is helpful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support my work and I'd appreciate that support. The designs of these phones, as mentioned, is one of the best things about them. They both offer a great design that makes them more usable and more functional. The Google Pixel Fold, for example, offers a book-style design that's wider and shorter than the likes of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Honor Magic V2. This means that the device's front display is a little easier to type on, meaning that you won't need to open it for basic tasks like quick messaging and for things like scrolling social media. But it's perhaps a little too short and wide. While I really like the form factor, I actually think that the Magic V2 strikes a perfect balance between the Pixel Fold and a device like the Galaxy Z Fold 5. It's not quite as wide, meaning that it'll fit a little better in the pocket, while still remaining relatively easy to type on, at least for me. There's another area in which I prefer the form factor of the Magic V2. The thinness. The Magic V2 is exceedingly thin, coming in at only a little thicker than most slab phones when folded, and much thinner when unfolded. The Pixel Fold isn't overly thick, but you can easily tell the difference in thickness between it and the Magic V2 when you hold them. Really, it's night and day. The difference in thickness also happens to make the Magic V2 feel a little more premium than the Pixel Fold in the hand. The Pixel Fold doesn't necessarily feel cheap, but the Magic V2 just feels expensive. But there is one way in which the design of the Pixel Fold is better: the hinge. Now, I like the satisfying click of the Magic V2's hinge when you close the device, and I dislike the fact that the Pixel Fold doesn't really unfold flat without some force. But I do like that the Pixel Fold's hinge is infinitely adjustable. You can adjust it to any angle, and it'll stay there. That's not quite true of the Magic V2, which snaps open or closed at certain angles. Sure, it doesn't do so at most usable angles, but users should still be able to experiment with the angles that they're folding their phones to on the fly, and depending on the situation. Apart from the foldable aspects of the phones, the Pixel Fold looks like other Pixel phones, with the camera bar on the back, while the Magic V2 looks like some other Honor phones, with a rectangular camera module on the back. It's not quite as unique as the Pixel Fold, at least from the back. Still, despite the hinge and the less unique look, I think the design of the Honor Magic V2 is a little better than the Pixel Fold. It's getting the win in the design category. The displays are a little different too, even apart from the aspect ratios. On the front, the Honor Magic V2 has a 6.43-inch LTPO cover display with a 1060 by 2376 resolution and 120Hz refresh rate. That's a little different than the 5.8-inch OLED display on the Pixel Fold, which has a 120Hz refresh rate and a 1080 by 2092 resolution. The cover display is bigger and slightly higher end on the Magic V2 than that on the Pixel Fold, though it has a slightly lower resolution. It's not noticeable though. The interior displays are also different. The Magic V2 has a 7.92-inch LTPO interior display with a 120Hz refresh rate and a 2156 by 2344 pixel resolution. It's a pretty nice display, and I found it to be better looking than the Pixel Fold's 7.6-inch OLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and an 1840 by 2208 resolution. I did notice that the Magic V2's displays were significantly brighter than the Pixel Fold's displays, which came into play at times. I also noticed that the Pixel Fold was pretty quick to dim its screen under any amount of heat, rendering it almost unusable in outdoor settings. That wasn't all the time, but it did happen a little too often for my liking. The displays on the Honor Magic V2 are nicer than that on the Pixel Fold. It's getting the win here. Under the hood, the phones have a different approach to performance. The Pixel Fold has the Google Tensor G2 processor coupled with 12GB of RAM. The Tensor G2 isn't bad, especially when it's found in mid-range phones like the Pixel 7a and Pixel 7, but it also easily throttles and doesn't work quite as quickly as some other chips. Like, for example, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Which is found in the Honor Magic V2 with 16GB of RAM. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is the best chipset in Android phones right now, and it easily beats the Tensor G2. So, how does this impact real-world use? Well, most of the time it probably won't. But under heavier multitasking and gaming, for example, the Magic V2 just performs a little quicker, and it'll take a little more to throttle things like the display. The winner in the performance category? Pretty easily, it's the Honor Magic V2. Next up is battery, and it's a little closer of a competition. The Honor Magic V2 has a 5000 mAh battery, which is larger than the Pixel Fold's 4821 mAh battery. Despite that, the Pixel Fold's battery life was a little better, as can be seen in my battery test, though it wasn't radically different. If you use the interior screen of either phone a lot, then you're going to see a shorter battery life than you would likely get on a high-end slab phone. On top of the slightly better battery life, the Pixel Fold is easier to charge. It charges through a wired connection slower, at 30 watts compared to the Magic V2's 66 watt wired charging, but it supports wireless charging, unlike the Honor Magic V2. The battery life in general is close enough to be considered a wash. Considering the Magic V2 can charge much faster, but the Pixel Fold supports wireless charging, it's a tie in the battery and charging category. Next up is the camera, and it's an area in which the Pixel could regain some points. The Pixel series has long offered an excellent camera experience, and that remains true here. On the back of the Pixel Fold, you'll get a triple camera array, including a 48 megapixel main camera, a 10.8 megapixel telephoto camera with 5x optical zoom, and a 10.8 megapixel ultrawide camera. The Magic V2 also has a triple camera, with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 20 megapixel telephoto camera with 2.5x optical zoom, and a 50 megapixel ultrawide camera. Specs aside, the Pixel Fold's camera is just better and more consistent. Photos on the Pixel Fold are vibrant and detailed all the time. In well-lit environments, they're a little more vibrant, while in poor lighting, they look a whole lot better. None of this is to say that the camera on the Magic V2 is bad. In fact, it's not that bad at all. In most cases, it also captured pretty good images. In this category though, the winner is pretty clear. It's the Google Pixel Fold. Software is next, and it's another area that Google Pixel phones are known for. The Pixel series is now pretty far from so-called stock Android, with a distinct look and feel. Honor's Magic V2 has Honor's Magic OS on it, which isn't bad, but it does look and feel a little dated. The two offer slightly different approaches to multitasking on foldable phones too. The Pixel Fold, for example, uses the interior display to combine two home screens into one, while the Magic V2 simply extends the home screen to offer the same apps and widgets as on the exterior screen. That's not a bad thing, but the Pixel's approach does mean that you can base the home screen off of the kinds of apps that you would use on the interior display versus that on the exterior display. There are some ways in which the software on the Magic V2 is better though. The Pixel Fold, unfortunately, doesn't allow you to run some apps in full screen on the inside display, meaning that some apps simply have black bars on the sides when you're using them. The Magic V2 gets around this with full screen app support, though the end result is that sometimes things can be slightly buggy. Despite that, software support on foldable phones is getting better in general. I think the advantages of the Pixel Fold software outweigh the disadvantages. The software category goes to the Google Pixel Fold. And there you have it. The score is close, but the winner is the Honor Magic V2. The Honor Magic V2 really is a great foldable phone, but it's not perfect. The camera isn't the best out there, nor is the software experience, but it has a premium design overall with stunning displays. If software and camera are the most important things to you, don't worry. The Pixel Fold is still an excellent foldable device, and the Magic V2 still offers a decent camera. But if you're looking for a premium design and a more flexible form factor, the Magic V2 is probably the way to go. Thanks again for watching this video, and again, please hit the like button and subscribe if it was helpful to you. See you in the next one.